Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to week 31 of this epic weight loss journey. 100 days into my carnivore journey, I decided to go down and get some blood work done, and that's one of the main topics here in today's video. Yeah, like I said, this epic weight loss journey started about 31 weeks ago with a series of fasting and food experiments and all kinds of just interesting stuff right up until now. And yeah, I figured it was time to go get some blood work. My last blood work was about 6 months ago, and I just wanted to kind of see where my numbers were at, because I know with doing carnivore, I'm going to see some different numbers, and I'm not sure exactly what the numbers mean, and I hope you guys could possibly help me out. So, and I almost forgot to mention something really important. I just wanted to thank everybody because, yeah, this channel's only grown in the last 15, 16 weeks or so, and it's all because of you guys. We're finally officially over the 2,000 subscriber mark, and that is a huge milestone for this channel. And I just wanted to thank you and say I appreciate every single one of you. So if you like supporting morbidly obese people like me, please hit that subscribe button. Be sure to comment down in the video section below. And if you could, just do me that favor of hitting the like button. That just lets me know that you are here. You can do that on a mobile device and on the TV just by hitting the selector a couple times, and you can find that like button easily, even on a TV. So far, I'm 100 days in the carnivore and KetoVore. I've been using a 90-10 principle of 90% meats and fats and 10% I do whatever. So, and I try to keep that whatever ketosis friendly for the most part, and that way I can just keep staying on track. And so far I've been doing a pretty good job of that, just staying on track. And once in a while I'll have a weird plateau and stuff like that. So it's the holidays. We're about a week away from Christmas right now, and we're just going to have to see how it goes. I'm trying really, really hard to get down below 300 pounds before Christmas. So let's see here today. Today's video topics, of course, it's going to be my blood work, what I ate this week to include what I'm using my homemade electrolyte drinks for. I have found a new use for those. My weigh-in results, and we're going to go over the numbers like I do every week. So first things first, let's get into the doctor's appointment. Now, every time I go to the doctor, the first thing we do is I usually wind up hanging out in the waiting room. Now, the waiting room at the Native Center, it's usually full of a bunch of other natives from all over the state of Alaska. And this time I actually had the pleasure of bumping into some people that were from Nome. And they did know some of my family. They did know some of my wife's family. They recognized the family name. We had a chance to talk. Now, this is another lady that she has gone on a similar weight loss journey for medical reasons. She figured out how to lose weight the same way I'm losing it. And we were both just like two little peas in a pod, just talking about information back and forth. And she was talking about some of the native things that they used to use for things like ear infections, which is something they call seal oil. They used to take the seal oil and put it in the children's ears, and that way it would help alleviate ear infections up in the northern areas without having to actually go to the hospital. Because sometimes if you live really far out, getting to the hospital can be a real pain, especially if you got a kid with a earache. That's a hard one. It's also hard to put kids with earaches on an airplane to get them anywhere. So that was very interesting, and yeah, that was a fun time. So yeah, when I got to the hospital, I weighed in about 130, I believe it was 139 kilograms, and that is about 306 pounds for those of you here in the U.S. So I'm guessing the kilograms might help those foreign viewers over there in the UK and other places that weigh in kilograms. But that was pretty nice. That was actually kind of amazing, considering I had pretty much all my clothes on. I did take my jacket off, but I got my pants, I got my boots on, and yeah, 306 pounds on the native medical scale, which is a very nice medical scale, by the way. So that means that my scale here at home is right on track with theirs. That's a big deal, because I know I'm staying pretty accurate. So when I entered the doctor's office, I sat down and I had a quick chat with the nurse about what I've been doing and stuff like that. And I tend to go a little long. I'm a chatterbox these days. Did my vitals. She took my temperature, which was normal. She took my blood pressure, which was just absolutely perfect. I mean, it was well down in the normal range. And for years, my blood pressure was like borderline. So this is a big deal. Now, 6 months ago, I had a DOT physical, And that's where I did my previous blood work. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And we're going to try to compare that to best I can. Like I said, there's a lot of bits and pieces that I'm trying to get together here just so I can try to explain it the best I can and have the best comparison, because there were some changes in the numbers. Now, typically while I'm just sitting there by myself and waiting, I like to take some random pictures of around the room. And I always like to focus on this one point in the room in particular, which is this: shut your cell phone off. I mean, do you guys actually shut your cell phone off when you go into the hospitals these days? Now, I remember when that all came about a long time ago, and cell phones were the old analog type, and that used to be said to have interfered with the medical equipment. But yeah, I remember we used to shut our cell phones off back then, but we still have these little notes on the wall that just kind of make me chuckle, so I just take a little picture of those and smile. So when the doctor entered the room, we both went to work extremely quickly, transferring information back and forth, because our time is limited. We only have about 15-20 minutes to actually chit chat back and forth. Overall, that experience went pretty well considering the conversation that was about to happen. So as the conversation went on, I briefly went over what I was doing, how I was eating, the fact that I was doing a carnivorous type diet, mainly eating meats, 10% kind of whatever. And I wanted to just get across, all right, let's see if we can find out some basic numbers, do my blood work. And then we talked about many of my new off-scale victories. Like, I got better hearing. My eyesight's starting to improve slightly. It's really not there, but the eye floaters have gone away. He was interested in hearing stuff like that. Also, that my arthritis went away, and a couple other things we talked about that I thought was an actual concern. I didn't realize it wasn't as big of a deal as I thought, because when you work in Alaska, outside in the cold, your hands get cold, everything gets cold pretty quickly. So I was really concerned about that. So I told the doctor, I said, since I lost the weight, I haven't been able to wear my wedding ring. If I shake my hand a little bit, that wedding ring just flies off and sometimes lands in the bathtub, or if I wash my hands, it goes down the sink drain. I've had to retrieve it a couple times now. But anyhow, yeah, I told him my fingers get lightning cold, like that fast, super cold. And it just something that I wasn't experiencing before when I was morbidly obese and working outside in the similar situation. Sat there and looked at me. His cogs were starting to work in his brain, and he's just like, because he thought at first it might be something else, and then he was thinking to himself, he's like, now wait a minute. He put 2 and 2 together. He's like, well, you're losing weight really fast. He's like, so your body's constantly in ketosis, especially when you're doing a lot of fasting and you're also doing a meat type diet, a carnivore type diet. So I'm in a perpetual state of ketosis. Like I said, at first he just looked a little bit concerned. And then all of a sudden he's like, you know what? It's probably because you're losing so much weight. Your body's trying to slow your metabolism down because it's, trying to maintain what it actually has. So that's nice to hear that that's not a huge emergency and I don't really have a problem there. Now, something else I learned while I was in the hospital is a little bit more about cholesterol, LDLs. Now, there's 2 types of LDLs that I was unaware of. Is that there's LDL in the blood. That's typically considered the bad LDL. That's the one that can potentially create plaquing. And I do have an opinion on cholesterol and LDL. And that's my own personal belief, because over all the years with all the science, these studies have been done, but they've been done in such a way that it seems like they're trying to push an agenda. This is just my opinion. This is my tinfoil hat being put on, and I'm just trying to make sense of all the information that's available out there, the previous information, and now the most recent information that we've been trying to figure out ourselves. Now, there's people out there that have been living on basic animal fats for many years without a problem. If anything, they're having a lot of benefits. So why are those people okay, while technically the other people, the ones that are eating the SAD diet, standard American diet, why are those people just not okay and they're having heart attacks and stuff like that? And my theory kind of wraps around the idea that it really depends on what you're eating when you're eating a lot of saturated fats. So if I were to eat a lot of saturated fats like bacon, eggs, all this connective tissue and stuff like that on steaks, meanwhile, while eating a bunch of garbage food, yeah, I'm going to have a serious issue with plaquing in the veins. I'm going to have heart issues and stuff like that. That's just my own personal theory. But anyhow, let's see. But yeah, it really was interesting to hear that there were 2 types of LDLs, and, one's technically considered good, which is the LDL in the body, and the one in the blood, which can potentially create issues in the blood veins and blood vessels, especially if you have damaged veins or vessels and stuff like that. So the entire time we were having this conversation, I was paying very close attention to what the doctor was saying. He's a smart guy. He's not a bad guy. He's not somebody I would hate on. Um, and he's really not against what I'm doing. He's just doing what doctors do and following basic concerns from whatever his previous education might be. Now, he's been a pretty successful doctor, especially for me. We have hit a couple bumps in the roads, and we typically work them out, and it's not a big deal. So basically, the overall visit was pretty good. The doctor was looking at me kind of like, you're doing good. You're getting healthier. You're losing weight. You're going on the right track. But he did, of course, he's going to have some concerns about my cholesterol numbers and LDL. Now, the one nice thing that he did show me was a chart of my weight loss from previously and then up till now. It was kind of like this really steep curve that just went, poof, just dropped right off. That was kind of nice to see. I kind of wanted a print out of that just so I could show you guys, but yeah, that's all right. That was something I forgot to get, and we're busy, he's busy, so yeah, we had to get on with the day. So after our discussion was over, he ordered the labs, and the nurse came in, and me and the nurse just happened to have a conversation about weight loss, and she was discussing her own weight loss, about going in and out of ketosis, and how she looks very healthy now, but apparently she said she was up over 200 and something pounds, and she figured out the basic principles of ketosis, how to apply them, and how to stay in ketosis longer and stuff like that. After all, she is a nurse at the hospital. But yeah, she had some weight loss issues, even though she didn't look like she had any issues at all. But we were talking a little bit about the feeling of actually going into ketosis, just kind of like it's like shifting gears in your car or a truck, how it just feels amazing. And I looked at her and I was like, this might be an inappropriate way of describing how it feels to get into ketosis. I said, but it feels almost like doing an illicit drug. And her eyes just kind of lit up and she's just smiling. She's like, yeah, that's pretty much it. It releases endorphins in the brain and it actually makes you feel good, similar to having a drug addiction. And this is also another reason why I go in and out of ketosis quite a bit. There's days during the week I just might be like, nope, today we're coming out of ketosis on purpose. I'm going to eat something to wreck it just for a little bit, and then I'm going to try to slide right back on into ketosis. And when I get there, it just, it's like, that feels great. So yeah, there is a side effect to coming in and out of ketosis. And I really don't believe we should be in a perpetual state of ketosis permanently. Our bodies are designed to use ketosis to our advantage, but it's also designed to come out of it and then come right back in. So of course it's going to be a pleasure there because the body wants to work for you, not necessarily against you. So it's going to release these, pleasurable type feelings and sensations throughout the body. And this is another reason why this weight loss journey has been so successful, is because I've been using that to my advantage. So I proceeded to start the process of withdrawing blood. Now, 6 months ago, it was extremely hard to find a vein anywhere in my arms because there was just so much extra fat over the top. And in a couple previous clinics that I used to visit, I had a search and destroy mission one time when the nurse was trying to withdraw some blood in that clinic, and she just kept stabbing and stabbing and stabbing and searching. And unfortunately, I found out afterwards she was a new nurse at the hospital. And so I basically just helped her out. I just pointed out in this arm in particular, which is the easiest one to find, even this visit here, this vein over here is somewhat visible, but it's not quite there yet. If I started doing some cardio, that vein, if I flexed a little bit like this, that vein would just pop. But over here, it's definitely visible, and it kind of runs at a diagonal. So nurse looked at that and she's like, ooh, let's use that one. And I was like, that's the one we always use. That's the one I pointed to last time. And you looked at me and rolled your eyes. But yeah, know where your veins are. It's really helpful to help these nurses because, they're just poking around the general area. Like I said, my vein runs off in a different angle than most. A lot of people's vein runs kind of straight up. Mine goes off to the side and then it starts to curve up. So it just makes it a whole lot easier if you know where these things are. So yeah, we did the blood work, got the blood drawn, and I got on with my day. I went home. Now later on that afternoon, I did get my blood work emailed to me through like a patient type portal thing, and I started looking it over. Now it wasn't a huge blood panel. Now the main thing that we were looking for was stuff like triglycerides, glucose, and possible swelling, cholesterol, of course, HDLs and LDLs. So that was the main focus of this particular blood panel, because everything else with me is going pretty darn good. So yeah, we're going to dive on into the comparisons of, the blood work we had 6 months ago, and I'm going to try to do my best to compare the two. All right, guys, so this starts the confusing stuff for me because, yeah, I'm not a doctor. I'm not certified in health or anything like that. So we're just going to go over some of the basic numbers. I did take a lot of time trying to put all this together today, so just bear with me because I don't understand a lot of these numbers. I don't know what these numbers mean. I don't know what they're for. I just know, cholesterol, LDL, stuff like that is just considered the boogeyman. So whether they go up or down, I mean, I don't know. This is what I need your help with. So anybody that has a little bit more experience, I'm going to put both of these images up on the screen. Now, one of these is from 6 months ago, which is a larger blood panel that we did just to see where I was at, because I was doing a lot of fasting. I started out with 24-hour fasting, intermittent fasting, and I dropped 70 pounds before I had the previous blood work up until now. Now, there were a few numbers on that one panel he was a little concerned with, and we wanted to work with and try to adjust down a little bit, and I probably screwed it all up with everything I've done now. So I'm not sure what his opinions are on. We didn't really go over that on like how I am, but he did say he would like me to try to switch up some of my fats from saturated fats to more natural plant-based fats like avocado oil and stuff like that, omega-3s, fish oil, omega-6s, whatever that is. I keep hearing controversial topics about the omega-6s, that they're not necessarily good. Omega-3, I hear that's overall pretty darn decent. You want to focus on the omega-3s. So yeah, I'm going to put both of these up there on the screen at some point. You can take a look at it, and that way you can get a good idea if you want to take a screenshot or take a deeper dive into whatever these numbers are if you have a better understanding. So now we're going to put my most recent blood work up on the screen. That's what I have here on my laptop right now. And we're just going to go over the information that's available on screen. Now, the first one, CPR high sensitivity, I don't know what that is. I don't have a comparison of that on my previous panel, so I can't really discuss much about that. I don't know if that looks pretty good. I mean, it says, 0.0% is the range, 2.50, and I'm 33, so like I'm kind of in there, so whatever on that number. But yeah, we're going to start with the hemoglobin A1C. The previous number for hemoglobin A1C was 5.1% A1C. Now this current panel here, and my cat's going to mess everything up. All right, go that way, please. Yeah, I figured you were going to get on the keyboard today. This is why I put everything on my phone, just so I had something to reference here. So my previous A1C was started at 5.1. That was 6 months ago. Now we're at 4.4. So that dropped a little bit. That still puts me in whatever the safe range is, 4.0 to 6.0. Now, 6 months ago, my previous triglycerides were 88, and that has dropped about 10 points to 78. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Now, I was told by another viewer or commenter on a different thread that I wanted to check my triglycerides and see where they were at, because you want them down around what, 77 or 70. Like I said, I don't know, and I'm just learning all this stuff. I'm trying to do a lot more research on it, but as I was finding out throughout the week, it takes a lot more effort to get a good understanding of all of this, because there's a ton of science that goes into this. There's a ton of good science. There's also a ton of like, I'm not so sure about that science, and why are you getting mad at me when I question the science? That's always bothered me, when somebody gets upset when I question the science. If we stop questioning the science, then something is wrong. And if somebody gets mad that you're questioning the science, then yeah, there might be something really wrong with that equation. So all right, now cholesterol. Yeah, wow. Okay, previous cholesterol was 161, and now we're looking at an increased cholesterol of 204. So that puts me 5 points outside the range. of 1 through 199. So I'm not too concerned about that because, you know, I could easily manipulate those numbers without much of a problem. Even doing what I'm doing currently, and like one of those things right now is just basically eliminating bacon. I've been eating a ton of bacon, guys. I've been eating an unhealthy amount of bacon, which is probably a bad idea anyways. So we're just most likely going to eliminate 99% of the bacon, and I'm just going to use bacon on a rare occasion. But all right, now we're going to be looking at the previous cholesterol HDL ratio. Let's see, previously I was at 3.7, and that one looks like it stayed the same. So, and today we're looking at 3.7 with a range of 1.0 to 4.4. 6 months ago, my LDL direct was high at 103, and it's high again, of course. Go figure. Yeah, I'm eating meats and saturated fats and stuff like that. But like I said, the key is I'm not eating all the garbage. I'm not continuously putting garbage on top of what I'm doing here. So I don't believe it's as big of a concern as a lot of people think, because the majority of people, they're just saying one thing and they're doing another when it comes to their doctor's appointments. So it's kind of hard to nail in their health. But yeah, previously 6 months ago, I was looking at 103. Now, of course, that went up quite a bit. That went up almost 40 points. We're looking at a high LDL direct of 147 with a range of 0 to 99. Now, that's some pretty interesting stuff there, and I'm happy to shut that laptop off because looking at two screens at once, it just drives me absolutely bonkers. But like I said, I'm not too overly concerned with those numbers. I can definitely manipulate them pretty quickly as I'm going throughout the process if I wanted to. I could easily drop those back within range by, you know, just balancing out what I'm doing. But what I'm doing right now has had such a drastic impact on my health and my healing. It's kind of hard to want to go back the other way to even a somewhat traditional type diet or eating and stuff like that. Now I do on occasions want to go out and enjoy life, you know, maybe get some food out and not really care about what's in it for that particular day and just kind of see how I feel. But with all of this practice, and this all takes practice, from the time I started all this to this point now, I spent a lot of time practicing, learning new things. That's one of the most important things I've found, is that if I stop learning, I'm going to tend to fly back in the other direction. If I stop taking things seriously and in consideration of what they're doing to me, yeah, I'm going to go back the other way. I'm going to gain weight. And it's going to come on quickly because I'm just going to eat whatever. I mean, you guys should see my pantry. Someday I'm going to do a tour of my pantry and show you what's in there. And I really don't have much food that's in my pantry for me. And that food that's in there, it's really just for emergencies, other family and relatives that come down. You know, they're more than welcome to, you know, eat food out of our pantry because that's what they eat on a daily basis. And a lot of it is just preparation type food, stuff we had stockpiled previously from the pandemic, and stuff we had stockpiled because we're Alaskans. We have earthquakes, we have power outages, we have severe weather, and this stuff's just shelf stable items. So it's just a good idea to have that stuff on hand. That's so crazy. I got into all of this talk about, you know, blood work and stuff like that. I almost forgot about the weigh-in aspects of the week. So let's dive on into the weigh-in and let's see what that has for the week, because I know some of you out there are curious, and I apologize if some of this blood work information was a little bit boring. It was kind of daunting for me to try to explain because, yeah, I'm really not into the whole blood work stuff like that. I do know it's important, and it does show really good indicators of, you know, severe illness and health problems. So anyways, let's get on into the morning weigh-in results. And of course, my lovely cats are they're doing their thing. They like to walk me down the hall. Now, Gray Bear this morning was sitting up on the bathtub. She was just ready to go, like watching, like, you're gonna hit record, Dad, because we're gonna do this. That was kind of cool. Come on, Dad, you gotta get on the scale. Hey. Yep, we are at home. Nobody's here. I got my dog. I usually don't have my dog on the weekends. My wife's out at her sister's house. So we're gonna get this scale turned on. Hopefully
everything seems to look like it's working. Let's see what we get today. Oh, I'm so... Oh! Wah, 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 wah. Hey, maybe by next week. I'm so close. All right, 302.5. All right, we're good. So close.
All right, guys, so that was super positive weigh-in again. I mean, I was a little bit disappointed. I was also ecstatic at the same time, but man, you know, it's not uncommon for me to drop 5 or 6 pounds in a week. So I was hopeful. I mean, I was really hopeful. I was eating what I thought was right on, and I believe, you know, 2.5 pound weight loss is really good. So yeah, that's fantastic. Considering last week I lost 2.3 pounds. So I'm sticking right in that average window of 2.5 pounds, you know, 3 pounds, kind of right in there. So I can't complain. I mean, I'll be surprised if I don't lock up this next week, because I'm wanting to lose, you know, this before Christmas time. So yeah, my mind's spinning. I'm trying to get all these videos together. I'm trying to get everything I can think of out to you in the most interesting and also informative way as possible. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I lock up right before Christmas time, and I'm probably going to have to wait until New Year's to get down below my 300 goal mark. But yeah, I'm just praying I can get there, and I'm going to do what I can, because as soon as I get down to 300 pounds, that's when I'm going to start exercising. The whole point of doing this was because 300 pounds was my goal weight to get to without a lot of exercise. So after that, yeah, we're just going to do what life throws at us. We're going to throw in some morning push-ups. We're going to, you know, do what I can on a gentle basis just to get going and see where it goes from there. So that should be fun as well. But anyways, like I said, last week I lost 2.3 pounds. This week I lost 2.5 pounds. That's pretty good. Sorry, I had a technical issue. It's called me not, you know, getting stuff set up in time. But anyways, when I started this weight loss 31 weeks ago, I started out at 435 pounds. This week's weight was 302.5. That is a total weight loss in 31 weeks of 132.5 pounds. Yeah, pretty happy about that. Let's see here. When I started Carnivore, now I'm on day 104 of Carnivore. Let's see, and I did my blood work almost exactly at 100 days into Carnivore. So yeah, so now we're at day 104 of Carnivore. When I started Carnivore 100 days ago, and not perfect Carnivore, but the best Carnivore that I could provide, I was 335.6 pounds, minus the 302.5 of this week. That's 33.1 pounds in 100 days of Carnivore. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. So I'm still dropping consistent weight, eating 90% meats and fats. That's pretty good. Now, like I said, I'm probably going to be changing up the whole bacon thing and get the bacon most likely out of the equation, or very, very minimal in the equation, because yeah, I was eating a very unhealthy amount of bacon. Now, I'm pretty sure there are unhealthy amounts of bacon, even by carnivore standards. So yeah, I just need to be reasonable and kind of get away from, you know, eating quite that much bacon. But yeah, all right. So like I said before, I do a carnivore, ketovore, keto type lifestyle. And I do have some fruits that I consider safe. Now, some of the safe fruits that I tend to use are low-lying fruits mainly. I focus on low-lying fruits for a reason, because the majority of low-lying fruits don't spike your blood sugar into holy high heck. Some of my safe fruits might be watermelon, cantaloupe type that. You know, maybe not necessarily cantaloupe, but watermelon. That's a low-lying fruit. Blueberries, strawberries, low-lying cranberries. Now, let's see, strawberries and raspberries. That's just some of my somewhat safe fruits. Now, I'm talking like about 6 ounces. Now, blueberries, you can eat an entire flat of blueberries. That doesn't really do anything. If anything, that'll has some beneficial factors. But yeah, I can eat a whole bunch of blueberries, nothing happens. Now, if I eat too many strawberries, that might take me out of ketosis. Too many raspberries or cranberries, stuff like that. So you just want to like keep your limits down if you're going to add those in, and they tend to work pretty well, especially considering we have these sweet cravings. Now, this is going to vary with some people because sometimes when you add the sweetness of berries in there, that just triggers a reaction with some people and they just go straight for the fridge looking for the ice cream, or they're hunting some other candy down. But if you can limit your sugary intake to cravings of fruit, then you'll be light years ahead of the game, especially when it comes to your overall weight loss plan. Now, I do have some vegetables that I tend to use on occasion, and some of the safe vegetables that I use is stuff like onions, celery, avocados. That's a good one. I definitely stay away from tomatoes, but yeah, I have very few safe vegetables that I like to eat because lettuce and spinach and stuff like that, for some reason, when I eat certain vegetables, it triggers a sugar response, not necessarily in my blood, but in my brain. It triggers a response that I should go hunt out different types of sugars or unhealthy treats, and it just makes me ravenously crazy, when I'm trying to stay on task or stay on principle. And like I said, I did an experiment a while back where I ate a couple salads, and I ate a lot of salad, like these big two big giant bowls of salad. And immediately I was in the pantry stuffing a piece of candy in my mouth. But now that I've had a lot of practice, I can catch these things quickly and just mitigate the issue before it becomes a problem, and realize it, and then actually make a physical note. Because when you make physical notes of little issues that you might have along your weight loss journey, it makes it easy to go back and look and say, like, oh, okay, so what did I eat? And then what did I crave afterwards? And this way, when you make these mental preparations and notations, it just helps you go back and forth, between your notes and what you did and what happened. And that way you're less likely to have an issue later on down the road. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what I ate this week. One of my favorite go-tos every single week, and I did kind of get off the habit of having hard-boiled eggs there for a little while. For some reason, this kitten just finds it the most amazing thing to sit here and watch me peel an egg. I'm not sure why. But yeah, hard-boiled eggs is one of my favorite snacks, especially if I'm craving something I probably shouldn't be craving. So yeah, I'm always constantly trying to have hard-boiled eggs around. And eggs are just super inexpensive and they're super versatile. So yeah, I always try to have a bunch of eggs in my diet no matter what. This week I did not eat hardly any bacon compared to previous weeks. And before I even started the blood work process, I did do a fast from, let's see, 5:30 in the afternoon, and my doctor's appointment wasn't until 11 a.m. the following day. So I wanted to make sure I had some decent fasting time in there before I got my blood drawn, just so I could get some accurate readings on the blood work this week. But hard-boiled eggs are a big thing in everything that I've been doing. And let's see, something else that I added this week, which I normally don't have, which is a steak. Now, steaks are something that I just can't really justify buying a whole lot of steak because they're expensive, and you're just going to be feral now that I got an egg out here. So let's see what she does with the egg here. She might get a little finicky on it. But also every week I go to Costco, or I have the wife go to Costco, and she buys those 80/20 burger patties. They're frozen patties, all grass fed. There's about 15 in a package. I eat about 3 to 4 of those in a meal, and I like to cook some extra ones and just toss them in the fridge in a Tupperware. That way when I get done from a busy day, I can toss 2 or 3 of those in the microwave and just have them ready to go. They're pretty easy and quick to deal with, especially if they're pre-cooked. Now, another thing that I had this week that was a little bit different was my wife made some salmon. Now, I took that salmon and I put a chunk of butter on top. Unfortunately, this particular salmon fillet wasn't the greatest one that we've ever had here in the house. The inner portion of the fish got a little mushy, so I don't like mushy fish at all, ever. But the one thing my wife's very good at is getting a lot of fish put away in the freezer. That's what she does. She likes to go fishing all summer long, and it feels like I'm mainly working just to support her fishing habit, which is just fine because she provides a lot of food for the entire family with her hunting and fishing trips that she takes throughout the year. So now the day before I went to the doctor for that final meal, before I went in for my appointment, I had a can of sardines just straight out of the can. And it's just remarkable how quickly sardines can launch you into ketosis. It's just like that fast. It's like I eat a can of sardines, I'm in ketosis, and everything just starts feeling good. Plus the sardines are super fantastic if you have any inflammation at all. And thankfully my inflammation is just about none compared to what it used to be. So yeah, sardines, burgers, steak, had some fish this week, and that pretty much covers everything I had for the week for food. And I would also like to share an off-scale victory that I was surprised to hear about. Now, this is an off-scale victory that had really absolutely nothing to do with my actual weight loss. It was some correspondence I had with my mother on the East Coast. That was a super huge deal to me because, you know, I was adopted out at age 2 from Alaska here, and I was moved over to the East Coast at one point. And so I lived there for a good portion of my life growing up. And so my adopted parents, you know, they treated me a lot better than I treated them. I'm sure of that. So yeah, I had a pretty good childhood. And over time, I decided to start driving big trucks, and I moved on to the Midwest to, you know, start my trucking business, settle down there. I started to have a family that didn't work out too well. So yes, I have a son that lives in the Midwest, and I love him dearly if he's listening. But anyways, over that period of time, I had a serious disconnect with my adopted family, and some things happened. We argued a lot and stuff like that. But anyhow, I never felt like I actually made them proud, except for a couple times in my life. One of those times was when I got out of the military, and you know, my dad was super happy about that because he was a retired master sergeant. He spent about 20 plus years in the military himself, so he was super happy about that. Another time, the second time was before the military, of course, is I graduated high school. That was another proud moment for a father and a mom. But other than that, I never really felt like I made them proud until just recently. My mother just happened to watch one of my videos. And actually, I believe she's watched several of my videos because some of my family members on the East Coast do follow what I'm doing here. And I love you guys. But she watched them, and her eyesight's not very good. She's getting old. For the first time in my life, she said that she was proud of me. I mean, she's said she's proud of me many other times, but this was the first time it actually sunk in. Now, she watched a few of my videos, and she told me how she thought they were professional. And like I said, I was like, wow. And then she proceeded to tell me a little bit more about how I'm actually doing something good with my life. I'm helping people. For the first time, I'm actually really getting into something that's positive in her mind. And she wanted to congratulate me, which was a big deal in my mind because those moments don't come very often. And like I said, she's getting up there in age, and I don't know how much longer she's going to be around, but that was a big deal. That was a real big deal to me, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So now, I did mention early on in the video, I had a new use for my packed electrolytes. Now, my electrolyte drink contains apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, some no salt for potassium, Himalayan pink salt, and you know, that's pretty much it, mixed in a big tall to-go bottle that I take to work with me. Now, I've been making one of these bottles to go to work with me for this entire time for the most part. And that really works. That helps keep my electrolytes in balance throughout the day. That way I'm not having a crash of electrolytes halfway through my work shift. But here lately, I started to change up the routine because before I was drinking one solid big tall bottle of water between, you know, the beginning hours of my shift. So the first 3 hours, I'd be drinking one tall bottle of water. Well, and then the next bottle, I'd be drinking the electrolyte bottle. Well, I switched those bottles around, did a complete 180, and I found that I'm using that to my advantage because for some reason, that electrolyte drink, the way I make it and the way that I'm using it, when I first take it as I get to work, it's like, it almost gives me a buzz, like I'm drinking a cup of coffee, like I had an espresso. So yeah, I'm using it similar to an energy drink and a little pick-me-up. especially first thing when I get to work. Now that carries that one bottle, I can drink that in the first 2 to 3 hours, and it carries me through an entire 10-hour shift by the time I get home. And since I've been doing it that way, I haven't had to come home and make another electrolyte drink before bed. Now it wouldn't hurt, maybe it's not necessary, but yeah, it seems like it works pretty good, like an energy drink, like the way I've been doing it. So I just wanted to share that and get that off my chest. So, okay, guys, I hope you bared with me through this video. Like I said, it's not the typical video that I create because I'm not a doctor, guys. I'm just not at all trying to even be on that level. I'm just telling you what's happening from my experience, the numbers I'm seeing, as far as my blood work and stuff like that. And I'm really surprised my cats haven't bombed me because, I mean, just a couple times on the keyboard, it threw off some glitches and I might not have added it in there. But yeah, for the most part, I just trying to share this experience with you as it happens week to week. And if this is something you like, please come back next week, check me out, see what happens. So yeah, all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this week's video. And until next week, I do hope to see you in the next one. There's a kitty in the sink.